Alright, what is up, folks? Once again, I'm going to start this video with a trigger warning. So, in wake of what's happening in the state of Minnesota, Jacob Fry, Tampon Tim Waltz, right, the Somali daycare scam. So, I've decided to also cover the topic of Somalis. So, in case if you're wondering, I'm currently in the capital of Canada. So, I'm in the city of Ottawa. It's about 4 hours north of Toronto. And interestingly enough, it is also the Somali capital of Canada. So in case if you guys are wondering, right, and for the city of Minneapolis, is there a Canadian equivalent? Yes, it will be the city of Ottawa. So if you look at it on a per capita basis, it's estimated that currently in 2026, there's something like 150,000 Somalis living in Canada, which per capita is actually significantly higher versus the US. So the US has something like 260,000 Somalis. But keep in mind, the population of US is about 8.6 times versus Canada. So yeah, there's significantly more Somalis in Canada on a per capita basis. Interestingly enough, right, once again, it comes back to Justin Trudeau. Well, before he took power in 2015, it's estimated there was something like 60,000 Somalis. Now it's at 150,000. I am not aware of any daycare scams that's been happening in the city of Ottawa, maybe in other parts of Canada. So I lived in a neighborhood. It's called Vanier South. Okay, Vanier South, just above Overbrook. Overbrook is a really, really bad neighborhood. Okay, I just want to be 100% open and honest with you guys, right? If you guys want to ask me, oh, is black culture a problem? Oh, is Islam a religion of peace? Yeah, for 4 years and 4 months, during my entire study at Carleton University, I lived in Vanier South, okay, close to St. Laurent Shopping Center. There used to be Rideau High School. So Rideau High School has been closed down. I was actually less than 1 kilometer away from where Rideau High School used to be. Well, the majority of the students at Rideau High School, they were Somali refugees, okay? And once again, I'm not making this up, right? The school has the reputation for probably being the worst high school in Canada. There are hardly any white students. Probably at least 50% of the students are Somali refugees. And there's also a lot of other immigrants and refugee groups that's part of Rideau High School. Also a lot of Middle Eastern and the North African students there. In grade 10, in the province of Ontario, it is mandatory for every student to take this test. It's called the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test. If you cannot pass this test, you don't get to graduate high school. I just want to make something crystal clear. I only started school in Canada towards the end of grade 7. I went to grade 7 for 3 months. Then at grade 8, grade 9, I only had 2 years to prepare for this literacy test. In grade 9, I did not speak any English before I moved to Canada. I had to learn English here. I took the mock literacy test in grade 9 in order to prepare for grade 10, right? I scored, I think, was nearly perfect. I got something like 97 or 98%. I forget what is the exact passing grade because it's not 50 or 60. I think it's like 70, possibly 75%. Once again, right? So I was really, really freaked out because I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to graduate from high school because, my lack of English proficiency. So yeah, in grade 10, I had only been speaking English for about 2 years, right? I took the literacy test. I got 97 or 98%, close to perfect score. Yeah, and yes, unfortunately, a few people did fail. But I think a lot of people say do not judge a book by its cover. Sometimes, unfortunately, you do have to. And when you look at the people who failed the literacy test, you 100% expected those results. So, but you have 3 chances. That's why it's taking in grade 10. If you fail in grade 10, you take it again in grade 11. If you fail again in grade 11, you take it in grade 12. And if you do end up failing that test 3 times in a row, then honestly, I'm sorry to say, well, either that person has some kind of a mental illness, that student should not be enrolled in school. Because let's face it, right? I took that test after only learning English for 2 years and I scored it nearly perfect. Yeah, and one of the key reasons why Rideau High School closed down was, yeah, I would say at least 50%, possibly 60% of Somali students, they cannot pass that test. So I'm just being 100% honest. Rideau High School, once again, majority Somali. It had one of the highest truancy rates also. A lot of kids were just skipping school for no reason. You guys want to know why those kids were skipping school? Well, nearby this shopping center. I know all of this because I lived there for over 4 years. St. Laurent Shopping Center. I used to have a membership at Good Life Fitness. I canceled it after like 6 months. It's bad. Those Somali kids who skip schools, they hang around St. Lawrence Shopping Center. And once it gets dark, once it gets to 9 p.m., because the Good Life Fitness Center, that was open 24/7. Sometimes after work, I will go there for like a late night swim. I will go on a run on a treadmill or something. I will do some weights. Yeah, all of those kids are up to no good. I have a bank account with Scotiabank and with TD Bank. Sometimes if you're withdrawing money at those banks, you'll see a bunch of those Somali kids just lurking around like 20 yards behind you. Yeah, and sometimes just in the middle of the day, right? They got hoodies on, they got ski masks on, and they're acting extremely sketchy all the time. And I realized this, I'm not trying to, add any negative stereotypes to any racial or ethnic groups, but that's what I saw. And the security at Good Life Fitness was absolutely terrible. I made sure that I never ever carried cash or any valuable belongings because, yeah, it literally happened. I witnessed this personally multiple times at Good Life Fitness. These Somali kids would come in and they would just completely ransack the locker rooms. Yeah, I think there was one bald white guy, and I saw him at the gym frequently at the time. He told me one time he lost like over $200 in cash to a bunch of these Somali gangs. And yeah, they will come in and they will just take everything they can find. And if you guys know, if you live in Ottawa, you know that St. Laurent shopping center, that bus station, yeah, once it gets dark after 9 p.m., 10 p.m., it's probably one of the sketchiest places in Canada. Actually, that's the reason why Rideau High School got closed down. Because, yeah, the majority of the students, once again, a Somali majority high school, they cannot pass the basic English requirement tests. They cannot pass the simplest, the most basic math exams. They're failing in chemistry, they're failing in biology, they're failing in history, they're failing in geography. And when the school was about to be shut down, all of the black counselors in the city of Ottawa, they keep saying that, oh my God, this is so racist against black people. This is so Islamophobic against the Muslims. But the reality is that the vast majority of the students are failing miserably, and the city has tried everything, and nothing has worked. And yes, I released that video at the end of 2025, right? Yeah, it was a gang of Somalis who smashed into my car, my Hyundai Elantra. They smashed the back window. They tried to hotwire it, even though they failed. So yes, there was actually four instances of people trying to steal one of the cars from the employee parking lot from my workplace. So, I'm just being 100% honest. I triggered a lot of people. But if you don't talk about it, it's going to make people more Islamophobic. Yeah, it's a bunch of Somali gangs who are running this business. They're taking the cars and they take them to the city of Montreal, which is 2 hours away. It gets shipped to Africa. So yeah, this is a multi-million-dollar business they're running. I was shocked to read this news. So everybody knows, everybody in Ottawa, probably most people in Canada, if you look up the most dangerous, right, the sketchiest McDonald's in all of Canada, I just read on the news that it's getting reopened. So the McDonald's on Rideau Street, this is right downtown. This is like right beside the Parliament. It's absolutely outrageous, right? You have, the Parliament of Canada building. That's the equivalent of the White House. So that Rideau Street McDonald's is like, less than 1 kilometer away? Yeah, maybe like 700 meters away. And then you have like Chateau Laurier, which is like, the best hotel in Ottawa. It probably costs like $500 a night to stay there. So you have, the most important building in Canada and the fanciest hotel in the city of Ottawa, in the capital, right? And you have the US Embassy nearby too. And then you have this extremely sketchy McDonald's. During the daytime, it's sketchy enough. I think, their average 911 call per day was something like 2.5. Yeah, they were averaging between 2 to 3 911 calls per day. The reason why that happens is because right nearby the McDonald's, well, first of all, around 11 p.m., all of the shops, all of the businesses and near that area, they all closed down. But that Rideau Street McDonald's was open 24/7. And there's also a refugee shelter nearby. And guess who the majority of the refugees are? Yeah, they're Somali refugees. And I went to that McDonald's, I think 3 times in total. After that, I decided, okay, I'm never ever coming back here. I'm surprised that, there's people that applied to work there. Like probably like 40% of the work staff, they were actually white Canadians. I'm like, you have to be absolutely out of your mind. Yeah. Usually after 9 p.m., 10 p.m., right, the store is pretty much like 90% Somalis, right? And every single night, fight broke out. That's why they averaged like 2.5 911 calls per day, right? I did not make up the stereotypes, okay? at least I will have to say one positive is that nobody's pulling any guns, nobody's pulling any knives. I'm not aware, but every single night, right? And it's very interesting. People want to say, oh, do you think Islam is religion of peace? I have never ever, okay? People want to say, oh, is the color the problem? Is your race, your ethnicity the problem, right? So I have never ever had any negative experience with a black Christian. I'm just telling you guys, the house I'm currently living in right now, I have a great relationship with two of my roommates who are downstairs. So they're both from Ghana, and it's very, very important, right? They're both Christians. So one guy's name is Michael, and also Michael's younger brother. I've talked to him a few times, and I think this guy has some unbelievable insights. So he asked me for a favor like a month ago, and he wanted to deliver his girlfriend a surprise for her birthday. And I asked him, I said, okay, your girlfriend, where's she from, right? So he's from Ghana, his girlfriend is also from Ghana. And I said, how come you guys are not like shacking up? You guys are in a serious relationship, right? And he told me, he said it's because I am a Christian, I believe in God, and we don't believe in shacking up before marriage, and we don't believe in having sex before marriage, and we don't believe in having children out of wedlock because it is a sin, it is against my religion. Then we had an amazing conversation. I asked him about, what do you think about abortion? He said, of course, abortion is 100% murder, and we talked about a lot about the politics as well, right? I have a very good relationship with the two Ghanaian Christians downstairs. Yeah, and I've also personally met a lot of Nigerian Christians. Yeah, I'm just being 100% honest. All of my years, 21 years in Canada, I've spent about 12 years in the capital, and I've spent the other 9 years somewhere else, right? I've never ever had any issues with a black Christian. However, when it comes to if it's a black Muslim person, right? The Somalis, right? So 99% of Somalis are Muslims. I'm just telling you guys, man, I've ran into so many problems. I've ran into so many conflicts. I've ran into so many chaos with the black Muslims in Canada. I'm just telling you guys, that's why that Rideau Street McDonald was so sketchy all the time, because the Somalis, every single night, fight would just break out. Someone will knock their teeth out, and someone will get a black eye. And yeah, sure, I mean, two Christian guys, they fight each other all the time, right? But I have never ever heard of two Christian guys who are fighting each other. They will never shout something like "Christ is King." But yeah, every time these Somalis, they're fighting, right, at in front of this Rideau Street McDonald's, let's say at 11 p.m. on Thursday night, they're always shouting Allahu Akbar. That really, really, really bothered me, because while a lot of people say it has nothing to do with religion, well, how come I've never ever seen two Christian guys who are fighting each other shout Christ is King? So yeah, obviously that Rideau Street McDonald's closed down, but if they're trying to open it back up, I think it's an absolutely terrible idea. And at one time I almost moved into an area. So there's this triangle, you can call it. Yeah, so the Bank Street, Walkley Street, and the Hetherington Street triangle. And because I was looking for a cheap place to stay, and so I looked up the rentals. And I'm like, oh, this area is very, very cheap. That's very interesting. So I went to check out the area, and I'm like, no. Well, the reason why it is so cheap, because, well, it is full of Somalis. Once again, okay, I'm not trying to add any negative stereotypes, but I'm just telling you guys, because when I drove into the neighborhood, okay, there was police presence everywhere. Yeah, the reason why there's so much police presence, because yeah, there's a lot of gang violence that happens in that triangle, the Bank, Walkley, and Hetherington triangle. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not making up any of this. So that's why, yeah, the area is being patrolled by Ottawa police 24/7. And during my last live stream, a lot of people were triggered. They said, oh, why are you attacking the Somalis? Well, I said, first of all, I'm 100% against the welfare state. Absolutely terrible. Look at what the Great Society Act, look at what LBJ has done to Black America. Not LeBron James, okay? LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson. Yeah, what has happened, right, to the black family ever since the Great Society Act? When you have the welfare state, okay, it's going to completely destroy the nuclear family, and it's going to cause a massive baby mama crisis. And also keep in mind, right, so there are currently 4.1 million black Americans that's on SNAP benefits, okay, but however, there are also 6.8 million white Americans that's on SNAP benefits. Yeah, look at how those white Americans who are on SNAP benefits, look how they're doing. Has those benefits from the government made them any better? No, has made them 10 times worse. They're the ones who are absolutely miserable, the ones who are angry all the time, the ones who have completely given up on life. And yeah, I believe in the United States, this is also true for the Somalis in the US. They're the least successful. They're the most likely to be on extreme poverty, and also they're the most likely to receive government assistance. If you look at the employment rate in Canada for Somalis, for adult Somalis above the age of 18, it's about 42%. At least, yeah, okay, a lot of people, they criticize Indians, okay, they're scammers, they do all this dirty stuff, but at least, the majority of them, they're working like 60, 70 hours a week at Tim Hortons or KFC or Dairy Queen. But yeah, if you go to Ottawa, how many Somalis do you guys see in the workforce? Once again, this is all orchestrated by the government. The reason why they can survive with only 42% of Somalis working is because, yeah, they live in the welfare state. So it is, our taxpayers' money. It is the everyday hardworking Canadians and Americans. Yeah, we're having our tax money stolen, and it's going towards funding these refugees. Go look at Niagara Falls. Once one of the most beautiful places in North America. Right now, in Niagara Falls, there are currently 2,000 hotels out of the 18,000 hotels. So about, 15% of the hotels are currently permanently occupied by refugees. And yes, a lot of them are Somalis. So the average cost to accommodate these refugees is $208 per day. They're given 3 meals a day. They're giving credit cards. They're given cell phones. And they get room service every single day. Yes, they get a room service in a hotel every single day. If you don't believe me, go to Niagara Falls, go check it out. 2,000 rooms permanently occupied by these refugees and asylum seekers. And they're leeching off of the Canadian and the American taxpayers. Yeah, if you guys don't believe the unemployment numbers, like let's say go to an area in Ottawa, like say Billingsbridge Shopping Center. Go there on, let's say 1 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. Yeah, you'll see a bunch of those Somali guys that's unemployed, that's collecting government welfare, and they have absolutely nothing better to do. And they're just sitting on the lounge, they're just sitting on the chair, sitting on the sofa in the shopping center, and they're just rotting their life away because they have absolutely nothing better to do while they're getting thousands of dollars from government assistance every single month. All of this has been made possible because this is orchestrated from the highest levels of government. Yeah, Justin Trudeau, he allowed all of this, right? Jacob Fry, same thing. He's the American version of Justin Trudeau. I've been living in Ottawa for 12 years. I've seen all of the crazy stuff that goes on. I just want to be 100% open and honest with you guys, right? I've never ever had a single problem with a black Christian. With black Muslims, I've ran into so many problems over the years. Just being 100% brutally honest. Some of you guys will not like it, but it's the 100% brutal and honest truth. And if you guys want to ask me, so why do I think this is happening? So how come, these Somalis, how come they're failing miserably? How come they're the least successful demographic? How come, so many of them are on welfare? How come, you came to Canada in grade 7 after 2 years of learning English, you scored nearly perfect on the Ontario Secondary School literacy test? How come, the majority of Somalis, they cannot even pass this exam, right? So the Rado Street McDonald's, right? These thieves at the Saint Laurent Shopping Center, right? The sketchy area at Bank Walkley and Hetherington. Why are there so many problems? Well, I think the answer is very simple. I think the success and failure of any race, of any ethnic group, of any religious group, honestly has nothing to do with the color of their skin. It has everything to do with culture. Yeah, look at the statistics in Somalia. Yeah, Somalia is the country with one of the highest first cousin marriage rates in the world. Yeah, I'll just leave that there, okay? So, I think you guys don't need me to tell you guys that, having sex and impregnating your cousin is a terrible, terrible idea. So yeah, I think what's happening right now in the state of Minnesota, in the city of Minneapolis, and right now we're at the end of January. Just wait until the summer of 2026, right? Heck, even the spring, right? When the weather gets, 10, 20, 30 degrees warmer, wait until everybody goes outside. I think the summer of 2026 will be an extremely violent and chaotic one. Possibly, 5 to 10 times worse versus what we saw during the summer of 2020. So I hope everybody will be staying safe. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and watching it all the way until the end. If you guys have enjoyed the contents of this video, please consider subscribing to this channel, leave a comment down below, and turning on the notification button. And I will see you guys back on this channel for Friday. Thank you guys.